What's going on, people? Welcome to another In Motion Football live stream. It's a Tuesday night, and there's a few things I want to talk to you guys about. We got the big Jalen Waddle trade today. We got some minor signings. We got AJ Brown trade rumors. We're going to talk about Ty Simpson. What else is there out there? Oh, and then there's remaining free agents and kind of assessing like what might happen from this point till the draft to kind of change things in the draft. But with that being said, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get right into it. So there's the big news of the day. Not DJ Wanham. The hell? Show me media. The massive deal. Oh, this doesn't show the picks going the other way. Come on, Shefty. This doesn't show the picks either. Maybe Rappaport's the guy who got the info. I hate that the insiders have split the I guess the rights to things. Here it is. So yeah, this doesn't have the information either. Jeez. You know what? I'm just gonna search in Waddle. Gotta get my visual on the screen, but come on, these people suck. Waddle trade. All right, here's the full trade details. Broncos get Jalen Waddle in a fourth. Dolphins get a first-round pick, third, and a fourth. So I guess the swap in this case benefits the Broncos because the Broncos get the Dolphins pick, which is naturally going to be better. So there's like a slight trade up in the Broncos' favor of fourth-round picks, which I guess just mitigates some of the value going. So you can almost look at it like late first, early fourth in terms of value going the Dolphins' way. From the Broncos side of things, I definitely don't dislike this trade. I think some people think it's an overpay. The thing you have to consider is that there's not a ton of high-level receivers out there on the open market. I take it AJ Brown is the better player and probably somebody who would have made Bo Nix's life better. But aside from AJ Brown, I mean, this is probably the best receiver you can get. There's not a ton of options out there. The Broncos, have a roster that can cope with trading draft picks like this. I just did a video talking about every single team in the NFL's draft needs. If you look at the Broncos roster, I don't think that that's a huge I don't think that there's a ton of needs that the Broncos have that they're all of a sudden not going to be able to address by having a first-round pick. The Broncos' issues, again, in my opinion, it's Bo Nix because I think they've assembled a quality roster. I'll put it this way. Their offensive line was good last year. It's still going to be good this year probably, right? Their weapons now make a lot more sense. You got Waddle as your one, Sutton as your two, and then you have like let the other pieces fall into place. So Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, Adam Troutman, Evan Ingram. Those are all the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh options in the offense. And those are the kind of roles that make sense for them. I don't think I think they could do better than Dobbins and Harvey, but Dobbins and Harvey is not horrible. There's not a ton of issues on the roster. I think they should have a running back upgrade, but I think they could maybe use to have a better wide receiver 3, but these aren't huge issues at this point. If you look at their defense was quality last year. There's no indications that it won't be quality this year. The Broncos are going to be a pretty good team. I just don't think they're winning a Super Bowl with Bo Nix. And I think that's a tough thing to say coming off the year that where Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl. But yeah, there's no reason the Broncos shouldn't have pulled the trigger on this trade. General's here. I think that's an underpay by the Broncos. What's going on? I would have pushed for a first and a second. So you rate Waddle pretty highly. I do as well. My only sticking point with Waddle is the injury history because that is pretty serious. But besides that, he's in a good, he's a pretty great player. Like his athleticism is unreal. We've seen him in a struggle offense for a while now. When things were going good in Miami, he was an explosive weapon. Like I'm a big fan of Waddle. On the Miami side of this though, On the the Miami side of this, I think the rebuild is correct. Deciding to just completely tear down the roster is the right approach. I think if they were going to tear down the roster, paying Malik Willis makes no sense at all. I didn't know that their rebuild was going to be this aggressive. To me, you don't want to send Malik Willis out there with no receivers, a not great offensive line, and Devon Achane with Bobby Slowick as your main offensive coach. Like, this is not a recipe for success for Malik Willis, which kind of helps me or like pushes me to look at the money that they paid Malik Willis as just like more wasted money, right? Because ton of dead cap for Tua, ton of dead cap for Tyreek, and now more dead cap for Waddle. There's dead cap for Bradley Chubb. Tons of players that the Dolphins will be paying that will not be playing football for them. And I think you're going to add Malik Willis to the list pretty soon, because I don't think that this is a advantageous situation for Malik Willis. If you're going to tear down your roster this aggressively and tank this aggressively, in my opinion, you may as well just go get Geno Smith. Go get Geno Smith. Go get Jimmy Garoppolo. Go get fucking Gardner Minshew. I don't know. Just like, you don't have to pay somebody $22 million a year. Like, Malik Willis has to be really good to survive what this Miami situation has become, and I just don't see that happening. So that part is pretty interesting to me. Yes. Like, but it's my point. Like, Achane and then probably Willis. Like, you may as well trade Willis too. Like, is that a part of their plan? I don't understand this, but like, the tank is on. To me, the tank between the Jets, Dolphins, and Browns is going to be epic. But I just like, again, I support the rebuild. I think they've got some, they got basically nothing back for Tua and Tyreek Hill. So good to get a first round pick back for Waddle. I think they got a late pick back for Minka, got nothing back for Chubb, got a third round pick for Phillips. Like, this is the prized trade for the Dolphins in their rebuild, because it's got a first round pick back. But yeah, man, the Malik, okay, maybe I'm wrong about this, but he's bad, right? Like, he's not good at football. Because as of now, he's going to be one of their starting offensive linemen. But yeah, man, Dolphins rebuild is on. Oh, he's decent. Okay, I mean, look, decent is better than I thought. Decent is better than I thought. But so that was the big move of the day. The other big move is Wyatt Teller signing with the Houston Texans. So Texans signed Brown starting guard Wyatt Teller to 2 years, $16 million, worth up to 23. So basically, for March Madness, got you. I won't be able to make it Thursday night, but I'll let you know about Saturday. Oh no, hold on. Yeah, I'll let you know, but I can't make it Thursday night. Oh yeah, you know what? I should fucking definitely talk about Justin Fields before Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller should definitely not be first on the list. Thank you, Jen Will. The Jets traded Justin Fields to the Chiefs. So I think that this was a very interesting move. For diehard people who watch this channel religiously, you will know that we have a Chiefs fan in this chat by the name of Sai, who called for this a while ago. And in response to him calling for it, I just attempted to tell him why it wasn't realistic. And the reason I thought it wasn't realistic is because I didn't think Justin Fields would be down for this. I actually think this is a smart decision for him because, look, if Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes don't help you get better, then there's just nothing left. So this is kind of like him going to quarterback school, because where has he been in his career? The Bears, where quarterbacks go to die, the Steelers in the worst era of the Steelers, and the Jets, where everything good goes to die. Venezuela got to run? Let's go. Go Venezuela. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Wait, do they say vamos? Hopefully they do. But yeah, so 2-0. Let's go. So yeah, I just didn't think Fields would make this choice. It's a pretty smart choice, man. Like, he's never had access to this kind of offensive coaching. He's never had this kind of a mentor. If it doesn't work in Kansas City, it's simply just never going to work. So whatever Fields' ceiling is, the Chiefs should be able to help him get in that direction. He's also probably going to get a chance to play. So from the Chiefs standpoint, I think Justin Fields is probably as good as they could expect for a backup quarterback, because, you have to sell there's not that many quarterbacks that would take being a backup, even if you get to play 3 or 4 games, right? Like, I thought Russell Wilson was maybe the best they could do. I didn't think they could get Fields. No, I didn't, but this sounds hilarious. So I think it's an amazing get for the Chiefs. I remember what Andy Reid did with Michael Vick. That shit was very cool to see. Then there's like the side plot about Fields apparently willing to be like Taysom Hill. Now, I don't know if that's a realistic expectation, but if he was ever down, Justin Fields would be dynamic as a gadget player. And forget being a gadget player. If you bring Justin Fields in onto the field for like designed quarterback runs, I'm trying to think about the down and distance, like 4th and 1, right? Read option, because you couldn't just bring him in for like 3rd and 5. Any instance where a pass is possible, you would never want to take Pat Mahomes off the field. But in like obvious running situations, with Pat Mahomes off a torn ACL, with there being a heightened sense of him not wanting to get Pat Mahomes hit, if it's 3rd and 1 and you can run a read option with K9 and Justin Fields, not a bad situation. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm surprised it happened. I think the Chiefs are pretty lucky that Fields was down to basically go to quarterback school. That's what this is. Like, when they talked about let me look for Fields. Anything that isn't the Jets is heaps better. Of course, man. Like, people talk about how like Kevin O'Connell is running a quarterback school. Like, Daniel Jones went there and got better. Sam Darnold went there and got better. Shanahan gets that reputation. Andy Reid is the same kind of guy. So whatever Justin Fields has, we're going to see it as far as his game goes. Shout out to Slay's retirement. Yes, man. Darius Slay, legend. Best Eagles corner that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Potentially the best Eagles corner in franchise history. We traded for him when he was like 28 or 29. So we didn't even get his prime, I would say. Shout out to Detroit for wasting people's primes. But he was phenomenal in Philly, man. That game against Justin Jefferson will live in social media circles forever. Hilarious guy. There's I don't know how to play clips on StreamYard, but he had a hilarious quote about how Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are both his sons. He just left Quinyon Mitchell outside and kept Cooper inside. Just a very unhinged, hilarious guy. Shout out to Darius Slay forever. Big play Slay forever. So that's the Fields talk. The next thing we'll talk about is Wyatt Teller. And this is not actually a conversation about Wyatt Teller, by the way, because you guys probably don't care about Wyatt Teller that much. This is more a conversation about the Houston Texans offensive line, because essentially the Houston Texans have done nothing but retain their guys outside of 2 moves where they got Braden Smith from the Colts and they got Wyatt Teller from the Browns. Now, I think a pretty cool exercise is when your team signs a player, so go to the NFL Reddit and see what the fans of that player's old team have to say. And basically, all the Browns fans say that he was kind of washed last year. Mind you, Wyatt Teller was excellent in his prime. So it looks like they got a washed excellent player, which is probably okay. And okay is probably an upgrade for the Texans, because boy, were the Texans horrible along their offensive front last year. So I think Braden Smith is higher upside as a move, probably lower downside because he has some health issues. But they've, I guess, made 2 moves to bring in offensive linemen that are better than what they had last year. I don't get the feeling it's enough, but it is improvement. We'll see how big of an impact it makes. I think their offensive line needs to function at least like a 6 out of 10 level in order to get effective David Montgomery. if you put David Montgomery behind the kind of offensive line he had in the Bears, you're gonna get Bears David Montgomery, which is not worth what they parted to trade for him. If you want Detroit David Montgomery, you got to give him the Detroit offensive line. I don't think Houston has done enough to do that, but there's still more offseason to go. That being said, they signed, let me see if I can find the tweet. Teller, Ingram, Smith. There's not that many tweets that are going to have these names. Okay, yeah, here it is. Offensive line investments, right? They re-signed Ed Ingram. So this guy was playing last year. They gave him they gave him over 12 mil a year. That means they think he's pretty good. I'm kind of scared at the idea of evaluating somebody on their line last year at this high of a rate. Braden Smith, this was the guy they got from the Colts. Wyatt Teller, this is what the signing I've been talking about. Evan Brown looks like depth. Trent Brown, again, was on the offensive line last year. So it's like they made 5.5 is, that's not come and sit on the bench money. So it looks like they're playing Trent Brown from last year. They're playing Ed Ingram from last year. They're playing Jarrett Patterson, I think, from last year. And God bless with Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith. Amen, Genwo. I have very little thoughts about this guy here. You're gonna have to give me your thoughts. You're gonna have to lead the way. You're gonna take the baton at In Motion Football when talking about Segun Olubi. Okay, so we talked about Wyatt Teller, we talked about Fields, we talked about Jalen Waddle. Okay, cool. Let's talk about Hollywood Brown, because my thoughts about Hollywood Brown are very simple. If Hollywood Brown is here to be the wide receiver 3 and replace Jahan Dotson, I'm very comfortable with that. And the main reason I'm comfortable with that is because the wide receiver 3 has never had a prominent role in Philadelphia. I'm not even joking. The best wide receiver 3 season, I actually, you know what? Let me do a statistical analysis. I'm going to break it down for you guys. Jahan Dotson stats. All right. So Jahan Dotson, in his 2 years as wide receiver 3 in Philly, 260 yards and 216 yards. Again, we don't use these players quite all that much. Before that, it was Olamide Zaccheaus. I'm pretty sure he's not good, though. But also, that makes sense for the Raiders to be signing him. The last wide receiver 3 before Jahan Dotson was Olamide Zaccheaus, who got a whopping 164 yards as a Philadelphia Eagle in 17 games. And before that, the wide receiver 3 was in 2022, Quez Watkins, who got a whopping 350 yards. So I say this all to say, the wide receiver 3 in a Jalen Hurts offense is just not seeing the ball. He likes throwing who he likes throwing to. And the honest truth is that Dallas Goedert is the third weapon in the passing attack. So the wide receiver 4 is the fourth weapon in the passing attack in a not a run first offense, but in an offense that loves to run the ball. So if Hollywood Brown is here to be wide receiver 3, I think that's fine because it's a very small role, and I think he'll be able to do a good job of fulfilling a small role. However, if he's here to be wide receiver 2, when we trade AJ Brown, and I still think it's a win, if he's going to be wide receiver 2 when we trade AJ Brown, I just don't think he's going to be good. Thoughts on the Lions signing DJ Wanham. I actually do have some thoughts. The Lions love trash edge rushers, and I think he's one of them because he was on the Panthers and the Vikings, but I think he went from Minnesota to Carolina, one way or the other. Point is, the Panthers have had some of the worst edge rushing situations for the last 2 to 3 years, and he's been a part of that. And then on the Vikings, he made no noise. So I say this all to say, DJ Wanham, not going to be good for the Lions. Just like Burford. Honestly, he might be a first team All Pro, but these guys, trash, trash. But yeah, Hollywood Brown, man, if he's our wide receiver 2 next year, serious decline in the passing game. If he's our wide receiver 3, I have no issues with that. Basically, again, it looks like this is our wide receiver signing. I don't think we're going to make a bigger move at wide receiver. If/when we trade AJ Brown, it means we have to get a solid receiver in the draft if we want to be able to be in a good spot next year. And I kind of don't trust the Eagles' ability to draft wide receivers. Like Devontae Smith aside, the team's been horrible at drafting wide receivers. So I'm kind of scared of the prospect of that happening. The Eagles will sign Mecole Hardman, and he'll be like the wide receiver 7, dude. Yeah. My take on Hollywood Brown is pretty simple. I just hope he's not like the most prominent AJ Brown replacement. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about. Where's my little list? Okay, only a handful of things left. David Njoku. David Njoku is visiting the Baltimore Ravens. The hell? Okay. Visited with the Ravens per Adam Schefter. This is really weird to me because I don't expect him to be like cheap, but I guess actually no, you know what? They just paid Mark Andrews $13 million a year. I don't think they have much, I don't think they'll be paying respectable money to a tight end too. It looks like his market might be horrible. I expected David Njoku to have a better market than this. But if he goes to Baltimore to be a backup tight end, I think he would be an awesome tight end too. A part of me feels like in some ways he's even an upgrade to Likely. I think Likely is more athletic, but Njoku's big as hell and can move pretty well considering his size. I mean, maybe injuries and age have caught up to him a little bit, but I don't think David Njoku is not capable of being an excellent backup. And again, think about it from a run blocking standpoint, right? Isaiah Likely is not the best run blocker in the world, but you now put Baltimore in a situation where they can have Mark Andrews and David Njoku blocking and functioning as respectable receivers. I think this would be an awesome signing if it happens. Okay, then we got some Max Crosby quotes I want to talk about. Max Crosby says that he didn't see DaCosta or Minter during the first 5 hours of his visits. When he finally met with DaCosta, the energy felt off. He then informed him he had concerns about his medicals. Jack Gibbons leaving for AZ? Okay. He left. He left New England, right? He didn't play much in New England. He played a lot in Tennessee before going to New England under Vrabel, and the whole idea was he was following Vrabel to New England. But if his guy, like Vrabel is his guy, if his guy didn't want to play him or keep him, I think that's a bad sign. Also, if Arizona likes you, I think has a better chance of being a bad thing than a good thing. So Jack Gibbons, Arizona definitely needs linebackers, but I don't know if he's the guy. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this quote about Crosby because I kind of think that my whole thing was I don't think that the Ravens had a neutral mindset or a positive mindset going into his medicals. Again, I think the Ravens wanted to pull the plug on the Crosby thing when they read the free agency market after trading for Crosby. And I just think that this is an indicator of that. I think this is an indicator of they didn't welcome him to Baltimore with open arms, oh my God, you're here. And then looked at his medicals and were like, oh shit, something's wrong. No, I think that from the moment, probably when it was time for him to fly to Baltimore, they were looking around shit, dude. 2 first-round picks. We just lost Linderbaum. We have a bunch of other needs to deal with. Are we sure we can do this? Yeah, nobody can convince me otherwise, man. They got crazy buyer's remorse for Crosby. And yeah, I just think that this is a very telling thing. Does this sound like it makes any sense to you? I've seen so much content of like a star player coming to the city they just got traded to or just signed for, and the management and the coach are fucking waiting at the door like kids. I was gonna say Christmas, but kids don't wait at the door for Christmas. Kids for like their grandparents visiting or some shit. Like, you know, this is weird. No, the Ravens had buyer's remorse. I'm sorry. The medical was not the main reason. Give me X, bro. Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew is disgusting. And the messed up thing is they actually have talent, bro. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, and Michael Wilson is a respectable trio of targets. If they mess around and draft Jeremiah Love, like, they could actually have good weapons with not a horrible offensive line, but their quarterback room just stinks. Unfortunately for Arizona, though, I think that talent puts them above Cleveland, New York, and Miami. So I think worst case scenario, Arizona can be 4. I don't actually think Arizona can possibly get below those other teams. This tweet you dropped in the chat is hilarious. He leaves and doesn't play that much. Hold on. Oh, you mean like Max Crosby wouldn't go on to somewhere else and like thrive? I mean, I don't hate this take. The thing is, Max Crosby is like an Iron Man from the standpoint of like the guy barely misses any football games. But the flip side of that is that he's played so much football. I do think it's going to catch up at some point. And I do think Baltimore probably saw something in the medical that indicates that. I just think that before the medical, they had their sights set on getting rid of him. But if we get rid of the Max Crosby news, what? Oh, yeah, the last thing before we look at free agents, the latest AJ Brown rumors. Schefter is leaning towards an AJ Brown deal and believes that's what Brown prefers, but it likely won't happen until after June 1st. So that's what I saw. The other thing I just wanted to talk about was, in light of what Waddle got traded for, if Philadelphia trades him for any less than a first-round pick, I'm going to be pissed because he's obviously better than Jalen Waddle, and he's only 2 years older than Jalen Waddle. And the way the Eagles structured their contract, the Eagles are eating so much of the money owed to him. So it's not even like you're getting AJ Brown on a huge inflated contract. Like, I will be incredibly upset if he gets traded for less than a first-round pick. For what it's worth, the Eagles are also going to need the first-round pick. Like, if we trade A.J. Brown, we have to do quite a bit to replenish the value on the roster. So, yeah, I just wanted to like say that I'm pretty certain A.J. Brown will get traded after June 1st. It might go until training camp, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get traded. And it better be for something in the Waddle compensation ballpark. Because what the fuck, man? Like, AJ Brown is so good. He is so good. Now, I don't think he's going to be so good for that much longer. And again, that's why I could understand if it's not the same as Waddle, because Waddle is 2 years younger, and 29 versus 27 is significant. But 2 years is not 2 years is not like night and day. I just want to say Chargers online are over. Sure, we lost Zion Johnson and Owe plus the 4th round we traded for Owe despite 100. But tell me they're worth that. Well, okay, you know what I would compare it to is that I would compare it to Jalen Phillips and the Eagles, right? It is 100% fair to say if a player gets an a completely unreasonable contract, that it's not smart to pay them and you shouldn't pay them, and not paying them is the right idea. But you're still left with losing a player and having to replace the player. Now, the thing I will say about the Chargers is, much like any other Harbaugh team, like the Harbaughs are now not about making these big flashy moves to replace players with like blockbuster trades or free agency signings. The Harbaughs have always been about drafting and developing their own. Even just look at the trade that they made, right? Like Owe was traded for Alohi Gilman. Like that was a minor move that ended up having like a good amount of payoff. Zion Johnson was a Chargers first round pick. Yeah, I would have never seen them making huge moves, which I guess maybe explains why, like, again, the biggest moves they made were Biadish and what's his name, Cole Strange, and Trevor Penning, I guess. But that was it. Even Trevor Penning was a minor move. Like, I don't know, these guys make those kind of moves. So the other thing I would say is, if you look at Mike McDaniel, he doesn't come from a world where they get the most amazing offensive line talent. Like if you look at the McDaniel history and then go extend further into the Shanahan history, the Shanahans and McDaniel have never had like unreal offensive line talent. It's always been get me some good offensive tackles and the scheme will do the rest, which I personally disagree with. However, it is how they think, and it has yielded some unreal results. Like the Dolphins offense, the 1 year it was working was fucking dangerous. Shanahan has been the mastermind behind a couple of decades at this point of pretty amazing offenses. Like clearly it works. I just happen to think that like there's a reason neither of them have won a Super Bowl, despite all the yards and points they've put up. But I don't think that, like, I think in a strange way, Alton Slater might be some of the best tackles we've ever seen in this offense, because the Niners have had Trent Williams, but I never thought they had an amazing right tackle. Like there was a time where they had Trent Williams and McGlinchey, and maybe that is comparable, but I would still say that Alt and like McGlinchey is worse than Alt and Slater. In Miami, they had Teron Armstead, but I don't think they had a great right tackle ever. I can't think of who Shanahan's right tackle was across from Dwayne Brown in Houston. But yeah, I say this all to say, like, this might be also some of the best tackle talent we've ever seen in this offense. But yeah, like, I don't know. I expect the Chargers to trot out some bullshit guards that might not actually negatively impact them that much, because that's just what the McDaniels offense probably looks like. That being said, also, Biadish is a good center. Like, Biadish is steady. Like, he's going to steady that spot in a way that I guess the guy who was playing last year didn't. So I think you guys are going to be fine. So one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the remaining free agents and kind of talk about who I still like that's out there still. 404 not found. Go fuck yourself, dude. No way. How do I wait? There we go. All right. Let's go available. And then we're going to order by the Spotrac market value estimation. So we still have Juwan Jennings out there. That is still a quality possession receiver. Clearly, they upgraded him with Mike Evans, but this guy can still come in and play. Great run blocker, makes plays on third down. This guy can still play on a football team. Taylor Decker, not in his prime anymore, right? This was one of the best offensive tackles in football for maybe a couple years, but still a starting quality offensive tackle. So there's still somebody that, again, we've been criticizing for not shoring up their needs that could get a Taylor Decker. Deebo Samuel, I think he's a wide receiver 3 at this point, in my personal opinion. So Deebo, I don't think the world of. Tyreek might not even play that much. Jawan Taylor is trash. Stephon Diggs, I'll put it this way. I think New England was asking too much for him as a wide receiver 1, but I think Stephon Diggs could still be somebody's wide receiver 2, and that's okay. So, like, we have 2 receivers here that can still play football. Joey Bosa, you never really know what you get with the Bosa brothers, like high level of ability, high level of injury issues. Mekhi Becton, again, you want to be very careful with scheme because he's literally only produced in one scheme. And it so happens to be the scheme run by one of the best offensive line coaches in football. Cam Robinson is like a low-level starter. Like, he should be a starter on a bad team. Like, he should be a starter on the Dolphins or something, right? Joel Bitonio, very old at this point, I think. Yeah, 35. Maybe you take a flyer if you need a guard here. Bobby Ukariki, I didn't think he was that bad, but Giants cut him for Edmonds. Calais Campbell can obviously still play. Harrison Smith, I assumed he retired, but if he hasn't retired, he can still play football. Kirk Cousins literally won a football game last year. Ethan Posich, I don't know. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, still available. Falele, horrible. Jonah Williams, I think is mid still. This guy signed with the Dolphins. No, the Jets. Yeah, this guy signed with the Jets. And Njoku was out there. Trevor Penning, he signed. There's some missing signings here. Kevin Zeitler. Okay, Kevin Zeitler was playing high-level football on the Lions until last year where he played on Tennessee. Now, I don't know what happened on Tennessee, but there's a chance this guy can still play. Devin Bush signed with the Bears. Onyemata signed with the Jets. Lattimore's trash. Wagner's trash. Trayvon Diggs is probably trash. Levante David, look, okay, Levante David I'm pretty sure can still play. So there's a linebacker. Jonu Smith can still play. Donovan, Keenan Allen is still here. He was a functional player for the Chargers. You think Chargers wait till before week 1? Yeah, so I think with older football players, some of them literally just don't want to go through training camp. So Keenan Allen might be one of those guys at this point. And he's earned it. Okay, shit. Still pitching a shutout is crazy. Two edge rushers here, by the way. Cam Jordan and AJ Epineza. Decent value here. If you need a rotational player, these people are going to be able to meaningfully help a rotation. Von Miller is cooked at this point. Russell Wilson, I mean, I'd still take him as a backup. DJ Wanham just signed with the Lions again on one of the. He was a contributor to one of the worst pass rushes in the league last year. Flacco can, like, again, we saw Flacco, bro. Flacco can still throw the pill around. Flacco should be playing somewhere. I think Christensen was pretty good in his prime. Had some injury issues. He's going to be 29 this year, so there's still something there. Oh, Jack Jones. Jack Jones played decent football for the Dolphins last year. Nobody really noticed because he was a Dolphin, but he's not bad. Matt Milano, man, I don't think he got bad out of nowhere. I just think he's always hurt, but still some value there. Who else is named? Oh, Kyle Van Noy, bro. Just casually always productive. He's still out there. Darren Waller was productive. He's out there. Marcus Epps played okay for the Eagles. Yeah, so I say this all to say, people, a lot of decent options out there. The other website I'm going to go to real quick, Walter Football ranks their free agents numerically. So I'm just also going to go through their list. Where's their top 500 free agents? Here it is. All right. So top 500 free agents. Matt Milano, number 11. Hit a poor 2012 because of a lingering injury. Could bounce back. Rasul Douglas. Oh, yeah. Rasul Douglas plays football decently, too. So a couple of decent options out there. Joel Bitonio. I talked about Bitonio. What else is out here? Brandon Ayuk. There, the world's still going to discover if he's okay mentally, but pre-injury, obviously was a great receiver. Joey Bosa, we talked about. DJ Reader. Oh, yeah, DJ Reader, run stuffing, nose tackle. At his age, given his role, you're not going to want him to play all that many snaps, but he can still play football. Wyatt Teller just signed the past 2 years, but he's still young enough to rebound. And Njoku, I already talked about. Kevin Zeitler, I already talked about. Tyreek, we talked about. James Daniels, when healthy, but has only played 4 games because of an Achilles tear. Oh, geez. So James Daniels has only played 5 games in the last 2 years, but I guess hasn't played any bad football. So that's interesting. Okereke. Oh, so he had a down year last year. So did Decker. Anybody? I'm looking for someone I haven't talked about yet. Daquan Jones, 34 years old. But yeah, still a handful of free agents left. So there's still things that could happen. But yeah, that's all the free agency stuff I wanted to talk about. We're going to end the stream by doing a bit of a dive back into the quarterback situations in the NFL. And I pulled up this spreadsheet, and I guess I organized things differently last time. Wow, that just hype on. Yeah, it hasn't happened. Nothing's happened, bro. That was just always like a fan fiction almost. But it hasn't happened yet. I'm also thinking about it, right? Like they're not going to want to commit big resources because they paid a lot of money to the other Bosa brother, and they spent a first round pick on Michael Williams. So like you're not going to want to pay big money to somebody else and kind of like block Michael Williams' snaps. You also aren't going to want to spend big money on top of the money you've already spent. So the reality is like Bosa is going to sign up to play with his brother when Bosa is ready to take a cheap contract. But if he's still looking to get paid, that's not the spot. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, they could use any and all talented football players. Okay, I'm gonna put Mendoza here as the backup for the Raiders because again, the Raiders, I'm pretty sure are gonna pick Mendoza, but also apparently they don't want to start him right away, and that's the right approach. But yeah, the thing I put on the thumbnail and I put in the title is we're gonna predict who drafts Ty Simpson, and I think we're gonna be able to narrow it down because the reality is, you only take Ty Simpson like at a decent part of the draft if he's your quarterback 3 and you don't have any other young quarterback upside on your team, or if you see him being your quarterback 1 or 2 in the short term. I could see Kirk Raiders, bro. That's the solution. There's only a handful of quarterbacks left. Like if they're not going to get Carr back because that breakup was ugly. Anthony Richardson and Will Levis do not serve that purpose. It's either they're not going to get Aaron Rodgers. It's either Kirk or Andy Dalton. I say Andy Dalton because the Panthers gave pretty solid money to Kenny Pickett. So I just assumed that the Panthers would trade Andy Dalton because I think Andy Dalton can do better than quarterback 3. That being said, if he's quarterback 1 for the Raiders, then fucking Mendoza is starting week 3. But yeah, Kirk to the Raiders is the way. But yeah, like we can just go team by team, right? Are the Bills going to draft Ty Simpson with Josh Allen? No. Are the Dolphins going to draft Ty Simpson when they just paid Willis and they had Quinn Ewers drafted last year, and it looks like they're tanking and Quinn Ewers won a football game? No. Are the Jets going to potentially draft Ty Simpson? Yeah. They only have Geno Smith and then undrafted free agent Brady Cook. The Jets are definitely Ty Simpson candidates. But would the Patriots draft Ty Simpson? No. Would the Bengals or Ravens draft Ty Simpson with Lamar and Joe Burrow? No. Would the Browns draft Ty Simpson? Now, I think you have to put their name in the ring because they don't have a solution. But I'll put it this way. They drafted 2 non-elite quarterback prospects. When I say non-elite, sorry, that's not the right way to put it. Like they took 2 flyers at the quarterback spot. I kind of can't see them taking another flyer. Like I think if they were to draft a quarterback with these 2 guys on the roster, it would be like a serious top draft pick where like it would be like a Mendoza. But what the hell are you going to do with 3 young quarterbacks? So you know what? I actually say the Browns are not going to sign Simpson. No, I didn't. So the Steelers, could they draft Simpson? Yeah, because they need an option at quarterback. So we're through 2 divisions, and there's only 2 candidates for Ty Simpson so far, the Jets and the Steelers. Are the Colts going to draft Ty Simpson after paying Daniel Jones? No. Jaguars with Lawrence? No. This whole division, nobody here. Nobody here is drafting Ty Simpson. Me getting back into a winning culture, having Josh Allen on the other side of the football. Oh, he's damn. Hey, that's bold of him to say, considering that Allen hasn't won anything yet. You know. But yeah, is anybody here gonna draft Ty Simpson either? No, because you got Bo Nix, Herbert, Mahomes, and Mendoza going to the Raiders. So I've whittled it down. There's, I think, only two teams that are even candidates to draft Ty Simpson in the AFC. That's the Steelers and the Jets. And I think that I think the Steelers would be out of the equation if they get Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, because it would mean pulling the plug on Will Howard. And truthfully, that could absolutely happen. But I don't think they're going to do that. Like, I don't think they would pull the plug on Will Howard for Ty Simpson. But you know what? This, again, the Steelers or the Jets are the two candidates so far. We go to the NFC East. Nobody here is going to draft Ty Simpson because you got Daniels, Prescott, Hurts, and Dart. That case closed. Nobody here is going to draft Ty Simpson either because you got Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, who, again, I don't think Jared Goff is to the point yet where you have to start thinking about a successor. Love, no, and then the Vikings have Murray and they still have McCarthy. They wouldn't draft Ty Simpson with McCarthy on the roster. So that's a no. I don't see the Buccaneers drafting him with Baker. I don't see the Falcons drafting him with Penix still on the roster. And I don't see the Panthers or Saints drafting him. So we're through the NFC, and I don't see any other candidates for Ty Simpson. We get down to this division here, and the two teams I'm going to rule out are the Niners and the Seahawks because of Darnold and Purdy. But the two teams I'm going to hold available are the Rams and the Cardinals, because the Cardinals have no quarterback. They have no upside at quarterback. And the Rams could maybe potentially start looking at the Stafford successor, and they don't have a proper backup yet. That being said, I don't see that happening with their first round pick, but I say this to say there's only 4 teams that I think would even entertain the possibility of taking a Ty Simpson round 2. This would maybe expand if he falls into round 3 or 4. But yeah, this is there's not that many candidates for him. And again, I could see the Steelers dropping out if they get Rodgers. I could see the Rams dropping out if they just decide that they want to prioritize winning over everything else. And if something like that were to happen, it then becomes Jets and Cardinals who blinks first. And neither of those organizations look like they're in a rush. Both of them kind of look like they're tanking to find their quarterbacks of the future. So, yeah, I could easily see it happening with Ty Simpson, where the Jets and the Cardinals both kind of kick the can down the road and he falls deep into the second round. But again, the question becomes, like, if you're looking to tank to find your solution next year at the quarterback position, what would really push for you to take a quarterback in the second round? Especially for the Cardinals, where like he would be your quarterback 3. He's not seeing this is not somebody who's going to touch the football field and then show you he's either the guy or not the guy. It's probably not going to happen. So I don't know, man. Like my feeling on Ty Simpson is just the Jets are going to take him when they feel like it, because they have all the draft picks in the world. They have a ton of dart throws. And I just think they're going to wait until they feel like taking Simpson, and that's how things are going to end on draft day. So we got through all the topics for the stream, people. I'll hang around for like another 5 minutes or so. Big up to everybody in here. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. On this channel, I don't think I'll be back until Sunday. So on Sunday, I'll do another check-in, see where everything is at. Maybe look at some more draft stuff. I like the idea of predicting draft outcomes. So I'll probably stick to that format of draft coverage, like just predicting what I think is going to happen. But yeah, anything that happens between now and Sunday, you guys will hear from me about it on Sunday. Like I said, big up to everybody in here. There are about 7 to 9 people watching live. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I know Jen Will is about to duck off to watch commiserations for the Chels. Hey, man, the fan base is going through it. The fan base is going through it. My guys that go to the Chelsea pub were definitely upset to be wasting their money. But yeah. I'm back on the NBA channel on Friday. I'm gonna miss tomorrow's game. So yeah, back on the NBA channel on Friday, back on this channel Sunday, and I'll see you guys then. Like I said, on your way out, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And like Stephen A is about to express, I'm out.
Y'all take it easy. I'm out. Y'all take it